Hi, everybody. So as you look at this picture, I'm the little tyke on the right-hand side with the yellow football. And it was funny because when I put this picture up, I looked at it and thought, I don't remember us being quite that poor that we couldn't afford the O for the Broncos right there, but I guess we were. Not sure what happened there. No, but it was shortly after this picture was taken that the dream of becoming an NFL football player for me began to manifest. And literally at the age of 8 years old, I had actually written in a journal that one day I'd be a professional football player, right? And so the dream kind of went like this, like I'd be a high school football star, go to the college of my choice, which for me would have been the University of Miami, be a star there, be a number one draft choice in the NFL, be a starter in the NFL for 10 or 12 years, retire, and eventually be inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? But as is often the case, dreams don't necessarily go the way that you envision. And that was certainly the case for me. So the first time I ever played football was as a freshman in high school. I was 5'5", 113 pounds, just skinny and meek. I was a third-string running back, and I started on defense as a cornerback. Until one Saturday afternoon, I was asked to actually go back and catch a punt, something I'd never done before. I go to catch it, it goes between my arms, between my legs. The other team recovers it, I get benched for the rest of the season. So that was like my first year experience. I was like, yes, I cannot wait for year two. That was awesome, right? So my sophomore year, it was fine. I was a little more physically mature. I started on defense. I played on JV. It was okay. My junior year, I'm now on varsity. And on that team, almost every starting spot was reserved for a senior. There were 3 juniors that actually started on that team, and I was one of them. And I started on defense as a free safety. And when the season ended, I was what they call a blue chip player, which by definition literally means you're one of the best at your position and you're virtually guaranteed to be a Division I scholarship player, right? And so right after that year, or right after that season, I actually got letters from basically every major university you can imagine and multiple letters from a number of them. And so now fast forward to my senior year, I'm now playing on both sides of the ball. So I'm a starter on defense and I'm now playing wide receiver on offense for the first time. A position I fell in love with, and that's what I'd pursue full-time from that point forward. And that season, I had a very productive year, right? And so the season ends, and I fully expect to be able to consider any number of scholarship offers. And at the end of the day, I got a chance to consider none. And it was really disheartening, and I almost quit. I almost walked away from the game. Because in my head, the dream that I had conjured, right, there was only one path to the NFL, and it did not include taking an alternate path. And I didn't really understand what the odds were, but now I kind of know, right? There's 1.2 million high school football players. Of that, 0.24% will ever get a chance to even get invited to an NFL camp. 0.17% will actually get a chance to make an NFL team. And so against those odds, I forged ahead. Why? Because my love was too deep. I loved the game. And I took the alternate path. I went to junior college, Ventura Junior College, had 2 subpar years there because we didn't really pass the ball. But I did get some recognition as what they call a return specialist. I returned kickoffs and punts. And I was what they called I made the California All-American team. And so I again had some Division I attention. That was until they realized that there was an oversight in terms of the number of units I needed to go directly to a Division I school and play right away. I'd actually sit out a year. So the only way I could play right away was going to a Division II school. And that's when Cal Poly San Luis Obispo came out of nowhere. And I knew of Cal Poly only as an academic school. I knew nothing of them as a football program. And I can assure you I never envisioned playing Division II football. But they offered me 2 things, a full-ride scholarship and a chance to fulfill my potential as a player, something to that point I'd really never had a chance to do. And I was on board. I signed on. And so my first year at Cal Poly was my junior year. And fulfill my potential is exactly what I did. And by the time that season ended, I was a legitimate NFL draft prospect. And so I went into my senior year at Cal Poly as a projected 3rd to 6th round draft choice depending on how my year went. And I come back for training camp the next year, and I pull my hip flexor right away. And so now I play my first 2 games of the season at less than 100%. Now, it rendered me pretty much irrelevant in those games. But by the 3rd game, I was ready to go. I was 100%. I was feeling great. And about 7 minutes into the 3rd game of the season, I went to go catch a ball on the sideline. I felt funny. A linebacker fell on top of me. I suffered a third-degree shoulder separation. I was done, just like that, my season. And the timing could not have been worse because that literally was like my last year to audition for the NFL. And so now I opted not to get surgery on my shoulder. I instead chose to be in a splint for 31 days, and by the time I got out, I was 16 pounds lighter than when I went in. So to kind of put that in perspective, prior to the injury, I weighed about what you see in front of you right now. So imagine me 16 pounds lighter, having lost all that muscle, and oh, by the way, I'm like weeks away from now having to go train to work out for NFL teams to hope that somebody still wants to sign me. And so as I'm trying to salvage the hope of signing with an NFL team, I contract mono. And it sort of explained why I had no energy to pursue these really intense workouts. And at the end of the day, there was no NFL team willing to draft me, but there were 5 willing to sign me as a free agent. And the San Diego Chargers are one of them, and that's the team I signed with. And signing you as a free agent really means nothing more than they think there's something there, and they're maybe willing to invite you to camp and give you a chance to possibly make the team. But there's no guarantees. And I did a very poor job of evaluating the actual opportunity with the Chargers. I only chose them because they were in the state of California. And I was coming off an injury, so I wanted to be close to home. Had I evaluated the actual opportunity, I would have realized it was terrible. Because they had signed 16 wide receivers to fight for 5 spots. And they had 5 wide receivers, to make matters worse, that were there the year before that were re-signed. So logic would tell you, those are the guys who are going to get those positions, right? And so when you're getting assigned a jersey number, there are 3 numbers as a wide receiver at that level that you actually covet, like an 80-something number, a teen number, or a single-digit number. What number did they assign Chris Thomas? Number 47. Right? And so in essence, what they were saying is, we think that there is 0 possibility of you making this team. That's basically what they were saying. So I was like, that's a great vote of confidence, man. I cannot wait to start this journey. And somehow I survived the first couple mini camps that I went to, doing really very little. And I got a chance to go home with about a month and a half to spare before the big camp, training camp, took place. And I knew, it was kind of my epiphany, I knew I was going to have to go home and like completely reinvent myself. And for the first time in my life, I was challenged to give more of myself to anything than I ever had before. And I had to do it mentally, physically, psychologically. And that's exactly what I did. And I told myself that when you go back there, you might only get 1 repetition, 1 opportunity every day in practice to do something amazing to convince them that you deserve to be there another day. And that's actually exactly what I did, day after day. Until after 3 preseason games, there were only 6 wide receivers left standing, and I was one of them. Thank you. That's a one person who loves me right there. Just kidding. And one of the other guys was a fellow rookie. He was a free agent just like me. His name was Wade Butler. The difference was they loved him. They made no mistake about it. They wanted him to be there, and it was obvious from day one. And we knew in the 4th and final preseason game that we were both going to get the 4th quarter all to ourselves to go show them why we deserved to be there. We were playing up in San Francisco at Candlestick Park against the 49ers, and the 4th quarter came, and sure enough, we went in. And they must have tried 5 or 6 times to get Wade Butler the ball. And for whatever reason, it just didn't work out for him. The ball was underthrown, it was overthrown, he slipped, it was deflected. He never actually dropped a ball, but he never made a play. And late in the 4th quarter, they called a play where I was like, ooh, this might actually come to me. And I lined up on the left-hand side of the field. I made a move on the linebacker. Still got the wiggle, you saw that. I went down the middle of the field, and I turned, and all of a sudden, the ball's in the air, and it's coming my way. And I will tell you, like, time stood still. I can absolutely still see it today. And it was as if the moment it left his hand to the time that it arrived to me, like I relived my entire childhood. It was crazy. And I relived like the journey from beginning to end and all the decisions in between and all the obstacles that brought me to like that one monumental moment where I knew that either a catch was going to give me the chance to continue the dream or a drop was going to end it right there. And so I jumped up, I seized the ball, I caught it, I fell down for about a 24-yard gain. Right? Thank you. Thank you. And it was shortly after that that the game ended, right? And that would be the only ball I'd get thrown my way the entire preseason. And so the final day was what they call cut day. The next day was what they call cut day. And so there were about 9 guys that we knew were going to have to get cut. And both Wade and I knew that we were candidates, like somebody was going home, at least one of us. And we were roommates at the same hotel. And we were kind of petrified to leave the room because no one wanted to come back to a message that, hey, you got to call this guy because they want your playbook. Right? So we stayed in the hotel, and sure enough, late in the afternoon, the phone rings. And who's closest to it? I am, unfortunately. Right? So I have to answer the phone, and I still remember I was shaking, I'm like, whoa, calm down, right? And so I answer the phone, I pick it up, and I say, hello, and I hear, hi, Chris, this is Marty Herney. And I just froze, like my heart stopped. And if you don't know, and you don't know, Marty Herney was the guy we called the Grim Reaper. He was the guy that told you to bring your playbook, the coach wants to see you because your services are no longer needed. And so in that moment, I was fully prepared to hear that my dream had ended, fully prepared. And he says, hi, Chris, this is Marty Herney. I just want to tell you that we like what you've done. We like you a lot, and we're going to keep you around. I need to speak with Wade. And thank you. And in all my compassion and my empathy, I said, hey, Wade, dude, the phone's for you, buddy, right? That's how sensitive I am, right? But in all seriousness, like that one catch and everything that led up to that one catch, that one moment, and all the decisions I made in between, at every crossroad that I didn't even know existed, catapulted me into an 8-year NFL career where the average career is 3. I got a chance to achieve some personal goals, play with some amazing players, participate in 2 Super Bowls, and I won one of them with my childhood team, the Rams. And on the other end of that, Wade Butler got cut and never got invited to another training camp again. It ended for him. And so I've answered the question from people, well, why you? How did it work out for you? And I've had to explore that. I'm a pretty humble guy, but I've kind of had to explore that. And I've come up with this. There's a Chinese proverb that says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a first step. And the reason it worked out for me is because I had the courage to take that first step in the face of just insurmountable odds that I knew existed. And that was if everything went perfect, and it didn't. And so I took the journey. And when I took the journey, it completely changed the way that I perceived the end result versus the journey itself. I realized all the successes existed in the journey itself, not the end result. Right? And up until that point, I had seen things in black and white. Either you succeed or you fail. Either you win or you lose. Either you're the best, Chris, or you're terrible. Right? But by immersing myself in something as extraordinary as attempting to make an NFL team, I realized it wasn't about the end result. It was about the quest and how it defines you. And football was just the endeavor that I happened to, passionately pursue. And in the process, I discovered the true capabilities of the human spirit. It was amazing. And I didn't even know that I signed up for that. But the journey turned into this incredible revelation, this enlightenment that changed my perception as to why we are here, your sense of self, the nature of true happiness, defining your relevance in this world. It changed the way I did everything in my life from that point forward in the way that I do it today. Whether it's as an advisor, whether it's working with young aspiring athletes in my Fusion Football Odyssey program, these kids who are coming to you, making themselves vulnerable to failure because they just want to be extraordinary, and they're entrusting you to take them to a place that they don't even know exists. To be part of that journey is just amazing. It's indescribable. It's ineffable because you're not just valuable anymore, you become invaluable. And so by making that simple decision to just take the first step and take that journey, it allowed me to break boundaries. And so whether I made that catch or I didn't, whether I made the team or I didn't, the victory had already taken place. The problem is we're trying to find significance in things that are material and things that are external and things that are impermanent. And that just will never satisfy our desire to be relevant to this world and the people in it. It just won't. There's no substance behind that. And if you choose to pursue something extraordinary you can have a different life experience. The problem is we lack the enthusiasm to pursue something extraordinary without asking the question of, what's in it for me? And that is not inspiring. The human spirit was meant to give, and we need to feed that. And if you want to be more alive and more significant than you've ever been before, then you need to choose to pursue something passionately, a purpose that is selfless and about bringing joy to others, and you will live life the way that you didn't know existed, and you will redefine your place in this world. And that's permanent. Football, unbeknownst to me, became like this odyssey, this revelation that I didn't even know I signed up for. And I pursued football, yes, but I did not pursue football for the money. I didn't pursue it for the fame. I pursued it for the love of the game. And that was pure, and that came from the depth of my soul. And that is inspirational. Like, people sense that, they feel it, they want to be a part of it. It's illuminating, and it draws people in. And they don't even know why. They just know that there's something about that they want. And for me, it was football, but it's not about what you do, it's how you choose to do it. And that's the beauty. And I want you to awaken your understanding as to the true essence of life, because it's out there for you. Infinite possibilities and infinite potential exist within every soul, including yours. And you just have to take your first step into whatever journey you want to find out your own potential. And so find something you love. Just dive passionately into it. Dream beyond the scope of reality. Conjure the courage to just tackle the odds. And you will break boundaries. It's inevitable. This world is crying out for that. And you already heard me say it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Like right now, you know what you are, but you don't know yet what you can be. Like I do, because I've had that revelation. And your possibilities are endless. There are 3 things I think are essential to living life the way it was meant to be lived. Passion, purpose, perspective. If you apply those 3 things to your life, I promise you're going to live life from a 30,000-foot view. And you are going to shine your own special light and illuminate everything beneath you. And it's going to be powerful, because your perspective is going to be so vastly different from everybody else's. Because oftentimes people are living life from ground level, and they don't see what you see, but you can be the one to enlighten them. And all of a sudden, you're no longer valuable, you become invaluable. And I'll leave you with this. The best part about me, there's a few things, just kidding. The best part about me is really this, that I'm you. I'm you. I'm an ordinary guy who made a decision to take that first step in an extraordinary journey. And I dared to be extraordinary. And I dared to break boundaries. And that journey changed my perspective about life. Like somebody's going to be the next great innovator, the next great magician, the next great philanthropist, entrepreneur, missionary, teacher. Someone's going to be the next great inspiration. And I want you to ask yourself one question. Why not me? Thank you guys so much. Thank you.